Sorry.
Wait,
Apologize in
take my
advance.
vibe. Hello.
I just said advance.
This is a great beginning.
I apologize in advance.
Hello, and welcome to the Steeped Talk podcast with your hosts, Horace, a.k.a. Hysteria Zero, and Sarah, a.k.a. Sarah Hara. Miss Sarah Hara, my mistake.
In this episode, Sarah is sick.
In this episode, Sarah is sick.
Yeah.
So we apologize for all the goddamn annoying sniffling she's doing.
But I'm drinking tea, as it should be.
Yeah. So we decided from now on that one of us has to at least one of us has to be drinking tea.
9 times out of 10 I am drinking tea anyway.
During our podcast.
No one can see me. Never mind. I was going to say, for anyone who can't see me, which is everyone, I have a tattoo on my leg of a teapot pouring into a teacup. That is how much I love tea.
Yeah. You could say Sarah loves tea so much that it's practical. She doesn't have any blood.
It's my blood, yeah.
She just has tea.
Running through my veins.
That's how she survives, is she just drinks tea, and it pumps into her heart.
My favorite is Stash Double Bergamot Earl Grey.
It makes her heart beat twice as fast.
Yeah. So I gotta be careful how much of it I drink.
Don't get us wrong, she is dying. Her heart has tea getting pumped into it, so she is dying.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's a slow and enjoyable death.
It's a tasty death.
Yes. And it's in a Mickey Mouse cup.
But we know it's been a bit. We've been trying to find time to record and
among our recording our video games, which takes up a lot more effort and time.
Way more time. I've been, if you guys have been paying attention, I had one guest on the show, and generally what we're going to try and do is
have some guists.
Have some guists as much as possible, just because Sarah and I can't always record
together,
the podcast together. Especially considering I'm going to be leaving the country for winter break. So I'll be recording episodes with friends of mine as guests, and Sarah will be doing the same, and we'll be uploading it.
I'll definitely be doing more on our YouTube channel, though.
I mean, of course. I'm getting a nice little break. But as for our podcast, we're both going to be trying to do as much as we can with that aspect. But that being said, welcome back. It's nice to have you guys.
Actually being an enjoyable podcast.
Yeah. So we kind of missed the boat, unfortunately. I've written down like a bunch of topics to talk about.
But they're old news now.
Yeah. One of the main ones was like talking about Pokemon Sun and Moon.
But we also have been so busy we haven't had a chance to play, so...
We have not played it, so... Any speculation that we would have had to say would have only been really relevant before the game actually came out.
Yeah, now that it's out, we
not everybody knows
like
everything.
Idiots, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, we thought we would take a bit of a horror approach this time.
Sort of.
Because we kind of missed Halloween, and that could have been an interesting outlet, but...
I'll talk about this shit any day of the year, though.
Yeah. I'm sure Sarah's got plenty of spooky stories. I don't really have spooky stories as much as I just have some freaky ass nightmares.
Scary things have happened to me, but yeah.
Anyways,
we're gonna talk more about dreams and nightmares than scary stories.
Yeah, this is a very
I have a lot of nightmares, so
yeah, I'm not gonna talk about my more serious ones, but we're gonna be talking about the scarier ones that would honestly freak anybody the fuck out. And I've got a doozy.
Oh yeah?
You know
hear it then.
No, you go first. You're the one who said you got like a lot. So
because I don't know what it is, but I'll go through bouts where I won't have nightmares for a while, and then I'll go anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks straight of having nightmares almost every night, if not every night.
Do you think there's a reason for that?
And they're different every time. I don't know.
Because I think a lot of people deal with that, and like one thing I've dealt with going through my life, and I know a lot of my friends have, and that's why there's so many studies about it, but that like certain aspects of your life influence your nightmares in one way or another.
Yes. But the thing is, I've never found a common denominator from the times where I've had the most nightmares. Because I can't say, like, oh, I was more stressed this day than that day. It's like, I mean, this whole year has been stressful for me, but I haven't had nightmares the entire time. So I don't really know what factors play into when I'm having nightmares and when I'm not. I think it's when my living situation gets a little more stressful is when I have the most nightmares, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But that being said, I've had lots of crazy nightmares from, like, one time I had a dream my dad tried to kill me. That was messed up. He was like chasing me on horseback. Like it was an epic adventure, minus the part where my dad was trying to kill me.
Well, maybe we should skip out on those comments.
I mean, that's about all I have to say on that nightmare.
Okay.
All my nightmares are fucked up like that, though. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. So
okay.
anyone who is listening that doesn't want to hear that kind of stuff, maybe shouldn't listen to this episode.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, we'll put out like a warning on.
Some of the things might be scary or disturbing that we're going to talk about because they're nightmares. Like. And we're adults, so we have pretty grown-up nightmares.
Yeah, so adult warning ahead. Any trigger warnings ahead. I'll definitely make an edit on the podcast.
Well, when it's posted, you can write the warning underneath too.
I will, but I want to put in the video because it has to be a video.
Yeah.
At least for YouTube.
Yeah.
Then I'll put in the description the timestamps at which where we stop talking about darker stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, Sarah, why don't you go ahead and start us off and we'll switch off.
I literally just did. Okay, I just told you one.
Small, okay.
Oh, it was so small.
I'll start off with smaller ones too. I don't want to give my doozy one away right
what?
away.
Oh, come on. It's so juicy. I just want to know what it is.
So, there was this one time, and this isn't... Oh, should we just talk about should we talk about scary things in general or like dreams in general?
You can talk about scary things too if you want.
But it doesn't have to be scary per se.
So now we're just losing the whole point. You're just going to start telling stories.
All right. One time...
just once?
I had a dream, a nightmare a long time ago, and everyone's had this nightmare. The nightmare where something's chasing you through the forest or a building or some shit like that, and you move all slow and whatnot. We've all been there. But
theoretically, yes.
Theoretically, most people have. In my edition... I was running and it was very dark. I couldn't even see in front of me. It was like that inky blackness that like when you have the lights on for a long time, then you turn it off, you literally cannot see anything.
See shit, yeah.
It was that kind of thing, but for a very long time. So I was just running blindly, and it wasn't that I was slow in most dreams. I just kept bumping into random shit, and I was like, okay, this is annoying. And at first in the dream, I'm running, and I'm like, okay, I don't know why this is happening. I'm just running, and something in me is just telling me to run. Like a really gut instinct, you know? And then I hear, like, not even a howl, but some kind of, like, snarl from behind. Mm-hmm. And I look behind, and once again, it's very dark, so I can barely tell what this thing is. It's a very shadowy creature.
Yeah.
But what I did remember seeing was, like, red iris. Like, the eyes looked human, which is what kind of freaked me out. Is that the eyes were human, but the irises were glowing red. Mm-hmm. But the mouth had like these really large fangs, like...
Oh man, too swoop for me already.
Shut up.
No, really.
The top of like what happened was there was like a lightning flash, and I saw it for a brief second. I didn't see its entire body, but what I saw...
Jesus Christ, dude.
Was the top of its head was like cut like the jawbones, and it had red eyes and it had like a human head. But then literally right below the jawbones were these like humongous like fangs. It looked like a saber. It looked like someone put a human head on top of a saber-toothed mouth. Mm-hmm. But like more scaly than fur.
This thing's just a mess.
It was fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't believe you still remember it that vividly.
I have... The nightmares I do remember are like extremely vivid because they fucked me up.
Fair enough.
Artists like you and I, especially when we have very imaginative dreams, we have a hard time forgetting them.
Yeah.
At least in my experience with other artists. Because we have such a strong imagination. Yeah. But that fucked me right the hell up. Yeah. And what happens with me is that when I have these... Oh yeah, obviously, I kept bumping into shit. It came up to me, and then I didn't even get to like turn away. Like I watched it like bite into my stomach.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Stop doing what you're doing there, because you're making a noise that I can hear.
Okay.
Also, can you turn on the Christmas tree?
In the middle of the podcast?
Yeah, but then it'll be less spoopy.
But don't we want...
I'm spooked out already, man.
Okay, let me finish my story and then I'll do it.
Oh, fuck no. Do it first.
So like
Your story is scary, man.
Are you serious?
Yes! We're recording this at night. It's fucking dark. Like, come on. Humor me.
It's fucking dank. Alright,
yeah, dank chicky nuggies. Hello, I am sick.
Wow.
Well, what'd you expect me to say? I would tell a story, but it would be interrupting your story.
Anything else.
Literally anything else.
Okay, there you go.
You forgot the star. It's okay. You don't even know. You don't know where to turn it on. It's okay. It's battery powered.
Oh,
you turn on the light over there. Dude, just trust me. Thanks. That's better. Now it's like mood lighting.
I can't believe beautiful. Most people will call this like pussy shit. What I'm saying.
Oh fuck.
I don't know, and then
I have a vivid imagination. That's the problem.
Again, like you're like I am.
Most people don't think about something when they're listening to it, but see, I'm picturing it very vividly in my head, and I'm like,
and this is an audio-based medium, so most of the people who listen to this will probably be trying to imagine it instead of looking at something. So what happened? The way the dream ended was, in most people's dreams, they get killed from behind. They don't have to see what's going on, but...
I assume that wasn't the case.
No, the thing grabbed my legs, turned me around, and then I watched as it took out my stomach.
Whoa. See, I usually wake up before I die. In all my nightmares, I always wake up before I die. Even though I know I'm gonna die, I always wake up first.
No, I always die before I wake up.
Damn.
Not
so lucky.
That freaked me out, because one time someone told me that, like, if you die in your dreams, like, it supposedly fucks you up mentally or some shit.
No.
It was those theories that we all heard as a kid, and we were all like, oh my god, what the hell?
Yeah.
So creepy, scary, spoopy. But, that was my, like, most tame one.
That was your most tame story? Fuck, man. Man, my nightmares are way more tame than that, but I also have a lot of them. The thing is, too, I don't go into as deep as detail as you do.
Well, I mean, part of it is that I'm a storyteller, so, like, I love telling,
I am too,
every detail of it.
I also, like, want to spare myself the terror.
I guess that's fair.
The tree is on, like, seizure lighting.
The tree's hearing the nightmare.
Yeah.
It started flashing at us, like, really bad, so we were just really confused.
Well, it's because you left it on the first setting. The only dream that I would consider sort of a nightmare that I had that was recurring was, I dreamed that I was Harry Potter, and a lot of big spiders were trying to eat me. And I was, like, trapped in this, like, really tall cylindrical room, and it was just, like, covered in spiders. It was not fun.
Christ.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad dream, especially if you don't like spiders. Like, don't get me wrong, little spiders don't bug me, but if they're, like, black and, like, just the way they move, I just don't like them.
Bug the hell out of me.
Yeah. If they're outside, whatever, I'll just walk away, but if they're in my house, like, hell no. Get the fuck out. I mean, I'm too scared to even do that, so...
I don't know. Like, some people...
I will cry about it before I'll kill one, honestly. It's that bad for me sometimes.
Yeah. So did anything else happen, or was it just...
No, that was the basis of it. That's the most important parts.
Man, you're gonna burn me out of my nightmares before I even...
I was gonna say, too, have you ever had nightmares or dreams where you get injured and then in the dream... That's distracting. I'm gonna change it.
Just don't look at it.
Just don't look at it. Have you ever had it in a dream or a nightmare where you get injured and you wake up and you feel the pain from that?
Multiple times.
That didn't start happening to me until I got older.
It's happened to me a lot, but the main one that I want to talk about is the doozy, so I'm not going to ruin that.
Like where you got injured when you woke up?
When I woke up, I had an injury.
Like for
that
reals,
was resembling...
or you just felt like you had one?
No, I had one that resembled one.
Did you tell me about this before?
Yes, I did. But I don't want to ruin that one for you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and tell
ruin
a different
it. You just
one.
don't want to tell it yet. You want to tell it last.
Well, I think it should be a build-up.
Because I want to be the most scared.
There needs to be a climax of like
right?
scariness, right?
Yeah.
We have to have an orgasm of scariness.
Oh my god, no.
So I'll tell you a different story.
It doesn't help that we have people that live downstairs and there's like random bangs happening and there's no other sound except for that.
I mean, that's why that's why I put in headphones at night.
Yeah, I don't blame you now. I can see it.
But especially out here, I hear it much worse. But anyways,
well, I have a fan on, so I don't hear shit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't sleep without white noise. It's just not possible.
That's fair. So basically, in this dream that was quote unquote injury based, as Sarah had mentioned, I should probably come closer to the mic.
To the laptop, yeah. Get up in that laptop's grill.
Gross. So test. Okay, right. I'm just joking.
No, you're not. That was a serious moment where you forgot that you shouldn't test.
That was an actual test. So basically, what had happened in this was, in the nightmare. This one, okay. I take back what I said. That wasn't my most tame one. Now that I'm recalling this one because it wasn't that bad. But in this nightmare, I was in some sort of a fight club of some sort. Mm-hmm. I said some sort twice.
Yes, you did.
And I was fighting with multiple people, and I was winning for the most part, and I was like, alright, cool. And then there was a scene in which I saw my dad walk in, he didn't like fight me or anything, but he like bet against me.
Oh shit.
On like this really big dude, and I was like, it like really pissed me off in the dreams. I was like, fuck it, whatever.
That your dad bet against you? Or...
Yeah. That my dad bet against me.
Oh. Okay.
So I got really angry. So like in the fight, I was winning, and then someone threw the other guy like a metal rod.
Oh damn, that's not fair.
No, it's not.
What the poop?
I think it was my dad actually. From
oh my god, harsh.
My dad.
Your dad really wanted you to lose.
My dad threw this metal rod to the guy in my dream, and then the guy proceeded to beat the ever living shit out of me with it.
Yeah.
And then I think the thing that ended the dream for me was he pulled back, and I remember in that moment it zoomed out from my point of view to like a third person point of view.
Zoomed out? Weird.
I'm sorry. When I talk about dreams, I almost speak about them as if they were a cameraman viewing everything.
Yeah.
So I guess I should say that first. The dream zoomed out to where it was third person instead of in my point of view, and it just showed the guy like whack my face so hard and my legs just go up in the air.
Damn.
And then I woke up, and I had this huge fucking like bloody bruise on my forehead.
Bloody?
Yeah. Like as if I just hit it. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I remember my brother telling me that he heard a loud thump at night. And when he looked down, he said that my head was... Well, we used to have a bunk bed, yeah?
Oh, okay.
So my head
that's good context.
had hit the metal rung. Because somehow in my sleep, I had switched sides of where my head was.
So your dream had created something like a situation out of something that actually happened to you.
Yes. And apparently, it happened multiple times, which explains why in the dream I'd been beaten so much. Because I was moving around so much in my sleep, I was actually flipping sides and hitting myself on the ladder repeatedly.
Yeah.
Until finally, I banged my head on it and I woke up.
Yeah.
And in the dream, I was having the ever merciful shit beaten out of me.
Yeah.
So that's my pain-related dream story.
And I was gonna say, like, situationally, like, sometimes dreams might not even sound like nightmares, but they kind of feel like nightmares when you wake up. Like, even if they're not scary per se, you can still wake up and have like a feeling of fear or unsettling. Like, say, you know, you have a dream where everyone rejects you, or have a dream where, like, you know, you're alone or something like that.
Or
like,
your
that's
dad
enough
pays
to
someone
really
to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that's better than your dad trying to fucking kill you, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Like, himself. I mean, he basically threw that guy that pipe, but still.
Yeah. It was just smart
mostly,
murder.
I don't know, I've been, like, attacked by bees and, like, bitten by a dog in my dream, and that's, like, where most of the times my pain has come from that's felt real.
For me, it's mostly been dogs.
So the dream itself hasn't always been scary in that situation, but shit didn't feel good.
Yeah. For me, if I was ever attacked by an animal, it was something either similar to a dog or a dog. Because when I was a kid, I had a really, really bad fear of dogs.
Yeah.
Because I got attacked by one when I was young and, like, fucking traumatized me. Like, I'm fine now. I love dogs for the most part. Yeah. Big dogs still kind of freak me out, but I'm pretty confident in people, like, who, like, own pet owners now, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I've never been... I mean, I've been bitten by a dog, but it's usually been on accident, so...
Well, I know the incident that happened, it wasn't on purpose. Like, the dog wasn't trying to kill me, but, like, it, like, mauled me to a decent amount where I was scared shitless.
Well, and when you're a kid, you're more easily susceptible to that.
Yeah. Not to mention, for some reason, as a kid, I was, like, deathly afraid of werewolves, so, like, that was the thing.
That's really random, but...
It was. I mean,
our
dogs
fears are, like, brought into us based on, like, not only, like, the things that we take in media, but also how the people around us act and what they're scared of. That definitely influences people when they're young.
I think that's definitely very true, because when you're a kid and you see some bullshit in the media, you don't always, like, take it into heart, right? Like, for example, my fear of, like, dogs/werewolves. Yeah, you see shit on TV. Well, dogs, it came from that. And werewolves are related to canines and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I already had a fear of, like, werewolves to some extent. But when you see it on movies and books and TV, which I use all those mediums, I was like, it's kind of scary, but, you know, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But the real issue is when kids talk about it. Because then, like you said, everyone else starts talking about their fears, and then that itself almost, like, confirms yours. So, like, I don't know, when I was a kid, I went to a sleepover once, and we were talking about scary things, like vampires and shit, and I was like, oh, whatever, that's not scary. And then they started talking about werewolves, which I already had a little bit of like
a fear of,
and dogs, so like it was kind of like lose. And then they talked about how like one time they thought they saw like a really furry man in like the woods and some shit.
Oh,
and
man.
like that freaked me out as a kid because
and it probably didn't make them bat an eye because they're like, whatever, yeah, that's kind of creepy, but
yeah, no, not to them. But the thing is, like, literally right before that sleepover, my best friend at the time and I went into the woods. Because we just wanted to explore, right? So we got on our bikes, we went into the woods, we parked our bikes, and we started walking around.
Seems like a smart idea.
Very, very, very smart. In the woods, we found an abandoned warehouse.
Oh my god.
And inside this warehouse, there was, like, a sofa.
Cool.
Like a broken...
Chilling time.
Yeah, right? And there was, like, I think there was broken glass, so we, like, moved out of the way. And it was pretty chill. And, like, you know what? We should make a fucking clubhouse out of this. Like, we always wanted to have, like, a place where us and our friends could, like, meet and like do shit. So
that's probably not the best place.
No, God no. It's probably like there's probably a hobo living there,
as
or like
a kid,
drug
like,
den or some shit.
Fine.
No, yeah. When I think about it, it could have been so many bad things.
Oh yeah, not only that, but it's still trespassing on property. So.
Well, I mean, technically, okay, yeah, fair enough. So we're like, all right, let's go back and go home, and then we're leaving. And keep in mind, I already have a fear of dogs / wolves / werewolves.
Yeah, we remember that because you keep saying, keep this in mind, that I already had this fear. I don't think we can forget.
So we're walking back, and then we hear like a rustle, and we're like, what the fuck? And then I hear like a low like growl, and then like a high-pitched howl. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, you guys, once again, you know me.
You know me, except not at all.
I was scared shit. I just started booking it.
I'm not surprised.
And my friend ran after me, and because it was like dark, and we heard a rustle and a howl and a growl, and we're like, oh fuck.
And your kids, like...
Yeah. I think we were like 10 or 11 at the time. So we're running, we get back, my friend's trying to unlock our bikes, I pick up a stick, like I'm ready to beat the shit out of whatever this thing is.
Yeah, right, with a stick.
Like a thick branch.
THSEC.
Yeah. And then we got unlocked our bikes and we like rode away. And I found out later that from my friend's mom that there had been lots of reports of coyotes in the woods.
Oh, well, that's not really that dangerous.
Okay, but you realize
if you had been alone, maybe, and like it depends on how young you were, but the thing is a coyote will never attack alone because they're too small. They're not very big.
Okay, but that's fair. But once again, like you stated, I was a kid and I was like, "Oh my god."
You're probably thinking, I could have died, but in reality, there was little to no danger running into a coyote.
And that's the issue with being a kid, is that you don't know that shit until you're older. So obviously, like, now, like, I'm fine, but like...
But you still shouldn't tempt fate by going out at night like that.
And going to a fucking abandoned...
And you probably didn't tell your parents where you were either, so...
No, I didn't. God forbid it was like some, like, serial killer's den or some shit, you know?
Oh, man. Just always thinking the worst, aren't we?
You got to if you want to be safe.
Whoa, I mean, that is not something I agree with.
Me. That's not okay. I'm sorry.
No.
Anyways.
Probably shouldn't instill that philosophy in everyone, because then they'll live their life without leaving their homes.
I think I ranted about my fears of dogs, werewolves, and wolves.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you should clarify again that you have this pre-existing fear of dogs, wolves, and werewolves.
Yeah.
Not coyotes, though.
No, coyotes are included.
I'm messing with you.
All species of the canine.
I'm messing with you because you were being very specific. Dogs, wolves, and coyotes.
And werewolves.
Sorry. All the things.
Anyways, so let's go back to one of yours now.
It's hard to say. Like, I've had dreams where, like, cannibals have tried to eat me. I've had dreams where I've seen people being tortured by other people.
I think cannibalism
I have
is
a lot of
dreams
of people trying to chase me down and kill me.
Let's talk about cannibalism.
In general? No way,
like your
man.
dream, you dingus.
No, literally, that was it. He tried to fucking eat me. I didn't want that. That literally just happened last week, and I tried to block it out of my mind.
Yeah.
Because that was, like, one of those times where you wake up and you're like, I'm so fucking tired. I could fall back asleep right away, but I'm still scared. I don't want to, yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, of course, I still fell asleep again because I was that tired.
My sister has a terrible fear. Like, she's not scared of anything except for cannibalism. Like, that
Which is so silly because it doesn't really happen that often in modern society.
Not here.
Well, then don't go anywhere where it's a normalcy. Because there are still places where it's a normalcy, but don't go there.
It's a very scary subject to approach, but we won't delve into that. But speaking of what you said, it's very interesting how if you wake up from a dream and if you're tired enough, and go back into sleep, you can
resume
drop
that dream,
right back into it.
which I really don't want either. Like,
well, I'm not saying nightmares. I'm talking about dreams in general.
But it can also happen for nightmares, and that's not nice either.
Well, that's why I make myself get up if I have a nightmare. Like I don't keep laying down. I stand up or like walk around.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's like who wants to go back into that? One time I had a nightmare and I was like, it was scary, but I was interested and I wanted to know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna go back in and see what happens.
Fair enough.
I mean, I was terrified.
Everyone's different.
I'm pretty sure I pissed myself because I was like 4 or something when I had that nightmare. But yeah. Anyways, do you want to talk about any specific nightmares aside from cannibalism?
Aside from cannibalism. The thing is, I just have so many, and because of that, I only remember certain details, like being chased down or,
So this
like,
is
a lot of times friends, like, being there that I'm not friends with anymore, and just, like, certain people trying to make me feel uncomfortable, people turning their backs on me, stuff like that. I know that a lot of it's induced by my stress or, like...
related problems.
Sometimes it's things I worry about in real life or, like, shitty things that have happened to me will come to haunt me in nightmares, but it's not always the case.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes. And the thing is, like, scary things that happen to me in real life don't really influence my dreams.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, and it surprised me. Like, I think one time I was a kid and I watched, as a kid, I hated horror movies, and
Well, who would like them as a kid?
A lot of people, which I didn't understand.
I don't know. I wasn't able to watch them until I was like 14.
I mean, my parents would let me, but if I went to a sleepover, my friends.
See, my friends didn't even until we were like 14. 15.
Oh, my friends loved horror movies, and I was just like, I mean, I'm a lot better with it now, but when I was a kid, I was like, fuck no.
Yeah.
But like shit like that, like I'd see like a horror movie, and it wouldn't like follow me into my dreams. I was like, oh, that kind of surprised me. I thought it would. But then, like, really real things are what actually get into your dreams.
Yeah. Like, real... Well, and as you get older, it's more, like...
real fears.
Situational things that have happened to you, or, like, afraid of someone leaving you, and, like... I don't know, I have a big fear of being alone. Like, I'm not afraid of much, but not, like, being alone day to day, that's fine. Like, I can have my alone time, but my fear is, like, everyone deserting me and me being, like, completely alone with no one around.
Yeah.
Because I'm a social person. So I like to be around other people, and if I didn't have that, I think I would go crazy very quickly.
I used to think that was my worst fear, but I don't think it is anymore.
What's your worst fear now?
I'm not really sure, but I think...
Well, then if you don't have one that you know is worse than that, then it's probably still your worst if you're still afraid of it. No, because
I've been thinking about it recently, and it's like...
It won't happen.
Well, that too, but I used to be afraid of being alone, like, oh, what's gonna happen, and whatever, but now it's like... I don't know, if I was alone, like, I think
for the rest of your life with no one there for you.
The thing is, like you said, it's not gonna happen. Like, I'm still gonna talk to people. I might not be alone completely. Maybe in, like, the long-term sense, yes. But, like, I don't know. I'm not a super social person. I feel like worst comes to worst. Like, I'll be able to talk to some people. They won't stay around forever, which really sucks, or would suck.
Okay, but I'm still talking about being completely alone, having no friends, having no family, no one who talks to you. Like, whatever, besides your interactions, you go and buy groceries or whatever, and you talk to the cashier. Like, I'm saying being alone.
I don't know.
That would scare me.
I think it scares me, but it's definitely not my worst fear.
Yeah.
I don't know, in my opinion. So this is basically just the Horrors Tells Nightmares podcast, not the Sarah one.
I don't know, I'm just talking about feelings that I've had. Like, I've had so many, I can't really recount specific nightmares.
Okay, well,
And if I am, I'll say as much detail as I remember, but I've had so many nightmares. There was one where I was traveling through these different rooms. They were like challenges with my family. And my family's split up now.
Yeah.
And I had this dream after the split, but we were all working together. And the worst part was when we came into a room with like basically floating foam or whatever, and you had to jump across the platforms and not fall in the water because there were sharks in the water.
Oh, Jesus.
And of course I fell in, so that didn't end well, but that was an interesting dream for sure, to like dream about my family still being together, because it's not something I want or something I care about.
Specifically you falling into the water,
yeah.
No one else. I feel like when people tell nightmares, you can understand a certain part of their mind or what's going on.
I ended up kind of outcast when my dad left, because my mom and brother get along and they're a lot alike in many ways.
Which makes sense why in the nightmare.
Yeah, and I'm more like my dad, and he's not always around and not always, the the best person in my life, but neither is the rest of my family, so it's very complicated.
Which makes sense why...
Yeah, which draws complicated dreams.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have more nightmares like that where it's like too real, where it's, you know, certain people deserting me or like turning on me when I least expect it. Like, those are my worst nightmares.
Honestly, I think my nightmares, as you guys can probably tell, are pretty graphic and horror movie-esque, but the idealism behind them comes from something. Usually.
I can recount the worst dream I've ever had last week, the worst nightmare I've ever had, in my opinion.
Do you want to talk about it or no?
Yeah, I mean, It's not the worst. I just had a dream that my dog was dying and no one cared except for me. And like before my eyes, I could see her fur like turning white and her eyes going blind and stuff. And
it's terrible.
Everyone was like, well, I'm not worried about it. She's depressed now. She doesn't want to really like be around anymore. She's had her time. And I'm like, but I'm worried about it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I don't know, I was really close with her and I ended up having to leave her behind, and then she was given away without me being asked first. So
yeah.
I think that's my way of dealing with it, is worrying about her because I miss her so much and I don't want her to miss me.
Yeah.
And I hope she doesn't miss me. As sad as that is, like, I hope she doesn't miss me at all because it would be harder for her.
Yeah, there can be a really bad negative effect on a dog.
Well, because I've seen dogs miss other dogs and die because of it. I wouldn't want them to miss a human so much that they died.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But that's the worst nightmare I've ever had.
I'm not going to talk about my worst nightmare because it's a little too personal.
But you just said... Oh, you're going to tell the other one.
Yeah. The very worst one I had, I will not talk about because it's very personal to my mental state at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
And other ones that are similar to that.
Yeah.
That I haven't told you about, but we can talk about that later.
Fair enough.
The one I'm going to tell you guys to kind of finish... Oh, we're at 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll finish it off here.
I usually try to aim for 45, but that's fine. So the one I'm going to tell you guys, the doozy, you guys better turn your lights on, because it's a doozy. So this nightmare actually triggered something inside my mind where I stopped remembering my dreams for a long time. Almost like 10, 12 years.
Yes, I remember this now.
Because it was such like a traumatizing event to me that my body subconsciously was like, I'm not going to remember anything after this. So if any of you have seen the movie Insidious, it's quite similar to that.
I was actually about to ask, is this the one that's like the plot of Insidious?
Exactly. Not exactly, but...
It's similar in ways.
Astral projection is a state in which in what you're dreaming is that you are outside of your body. Usually it entails like you actually being able to see where your body is sleeping or laying. Yeah. And then being able to move around. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say this is just a dream and this is your mind's way of analyzing and remembering like maps of what you've seen and where you are. Mm-hmm. And some people say it's a spiritual experience, that your soul is leaving your body. I'm not sure where I stand in all this. Generally, I with dreams, I tend to lean more towards the scientific side, but with astral projection and with this nightmare specifically, I couldn't tell you. This is where my faith in science is a little bit shooken. Shaken. But basically, I go to sleep, and in the dream, all of a sudden I'm aware that I'm floating. And I see my bed. On my bed is me, just, sleeping and doing my thing. And my body, and at this point in time, I had a dream like this once before. Like, it freaked me out the first time, but now I was kind of like, okay, I know what happens. Yeah. So I was kind of like, just literally how it was like, I was just kind of floating around the house. Like, it felt like what it would feel like to be Casper or some shit. Yeah. Like, I was floating around the house, checking on everyone, making sure everybody was okay. I went downstairs, like, looked at the TV. Whatever. And then I float back to my room, and I see a pretty terrifying image. I see 3 people sitting on the bed around me. Mm-hmm. All of them are holding me down and have some sort of a grimace or facial expression similar to a grimace on their face. So starting off... Is your grimace, or do you mean like a menacing grin? Because a grimace is kind of like pain on your face. It was a grimace, okay. And it turned into a grin later, but At the bottom of the bed, holding my ankles down, was a very, very, very old man. If I remember...
That old boy, though.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he was bald.
Oh, damn.
And,
he wanted your body for your hair.
Very old and wrinkly, and, like he looked like... This sounds bad to say, but he looked like someone straight out of, like, Auschwitz or something. Like, he looked like a skeleton, like he had not eaten in, like, years.
Mm-hmm.
Which was horrifying to see as a kid, because, like, I'd only ever seen imagery of that in, like, history class, and even then it was, like, pretty censored. So this guy's holding my ankles. He has no eyes. They're just empty black sockets. And, and I noticed that in his grimace, he has these really sharp teeth.
Mm-hmm.
The second man was laying around my to chest area, and he was holding two hands down on my chest as if, like, he was giving me CPR or something. And this was a very, very handsome and very well-dressed man. He had a really nice suit on. And I don't know why, but this is such a distinctive thing in my memories that this guy was wearing a really fucking nice suit. Maybe this is where my obsession with suits came from. But anyways, this man was pushing down on my chest, and once again he had no eyes, just empty black sockets and sharp teeth, and he just looks he looked like one of those people who, yes, was very handsome, but he looked like someone that if you pissed him off even slightly, he would kill you in a second. And the last person, one of the reasons Insidious freaked me out so much is because how similar this person looked when I saw that movie, and it reminded me of my childhood, and I almost, like, shit myself.
Mm-hmm.
There was this old lady with this crazy disheveled hair just going everywhere.
Yeah.
And she had, like, makeup lines on her face and looked like she'd been sobbing, and she had this, like, huge, like, witch nose. It had, like, warts on it and shit, because I was scared of witches as a kid.
Man, you were scared of werewolves and witches. You must have hated Halloween.
I did. And once again, she was wrinkled like the old man, and she had no eyeballs whatsoever.
Yeah.
And her teeth were sharp, and she was holding my neck.
Okay.
Now, while I was floating there with all these people holding bits of my body, I could feel it on my body, like the pain of these places. Mm-hmm. So, I think my ghost self or whatever, like, made, like, a noise, like a meep or some shit like that.
Okay.
Like, like a whimper of fear, right?
Yeah.
As anyone would in that situation.
Yeah.
And there was, like, a soft buzz going on in the background.
Okay.
Like a really, like a loud, like a cicada,
like
but someone, like, died it down.
What?
No, like a cicada.
Oh, okay.
Like a cicada-like buzz in the background. And that just stopped, and everything was completely silent.
Like when they noticed you?
Yeah. And then I hear a loud snap as all three of them turn to look at me.
Ugh, you're wigging me out over here.
And,
cuddle that blanket.
all three of them, they opened their mouth, and nothing happened at first. It just looked like someone was opening their mouth to say something. Mm-hmm. But then it kept opening, and opening, and opening, and the jaws would just keep lowering and lowering, and the skin was starting to peel in certain bits. And, like, the teeth were getting larger, and then inside their mouths I saw there was more rows of teeth. And this horrible, horrible shrieking noise just started emanating from all of them. Like, I thought, like, my ears were going to, like, start bleeding or something. Like, it was so, so loud, and it sounded like someone was, took, like, a chalkboard and was scratching their nails across it and was screaming at the same time. And this was all happening, and I was feeling their grips tighten on my body, and I remember my spirit self kind of run forward and jump into my body. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up at the start, sweating, and just, like, I wanted to throw up, and I wasn't feeling good. And I felt pain, and I was like, what does this mean? And I take off my clothes, and I see that I have rashes around my ankles, on my chest where the guy was pushing down, and around my neck. Mm-hmm. So that fucked me up so bad, where I didn't remember a dream for a long time, and that really shook my faith. Like, I don't know. I think majority of the times with the dreams, it's just dreams, but I think there is something to
what happened that time.
Because Yeah, there were rashes. They didn't look like hand marks or anything. But the one that freaked me out was that on my chest, because the guy was very specifically holding his hands together on a part of my body.
It looked like that.
And it looked like the rash was in that very specific pinpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have just been a rash.
Can do that to you too.
Yeah, I once heard a story about a lady who genuinely believed that Christ was punishing her with a cross, and like she felt a pain in her hand.
Yeah.
And then, like, a month later, they found a scar that would look like a cross in there.
And there's people, too, who want to believe that they're pregnant so bad that their body will actually start faking signs of pregnancy even though the's no baby.
Yeah, so it very well could have just been some shit like that, but it definitely fucked me up. And that's probably the worst nightmare I've ever had. Not worst, but, like, one of the scariest ones.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified to sleep after that.
A lot of people have stopped me from finishing that story because it's freaked them out so much.
I mean, I've already heard it once, but it's still pretty fucking scary.
Yeah. I completely agree.
But I mean, I wasn't going to stop you.
No. And I
had a podcast be like, nope, I don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
Fuck all y'all.
I appreciate it. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys.
As long as you managed to make it through Horace's scary story at the end here.
And if not, then it's completely A-okay, like I understand.
Yeah. Just don't listen to this podcast at night. Yeah,
we're gonna, and like I said, I'm gonna put a warning beforehand that it gets intense and dark and scary.
Yep.
But thanks for tuning in.
Next time we'll go back to lighter topics.
Yeah. Feel free to, obviously, if you're listening to this, you're already on our YouTube channel. The plan is to eventually publish this on iTunes, which I'm working towards as we speak. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, check out our channel at Steeped Play for our Let's Play videos and our gaming. Steep Talk is obviously our YouTube channel for our podcast, and right now we're also working on building a website. Mm-hmm. You can find me and Sarah at... I'm just going to get my Twitter. You can find my Twitter at Hysterio0, which is HYSTERIO0, in which I post my art and just kind of retweet shit that I like. You can find Sarah at
Sarah Runny on Twitter, but at Miss Sarah Hara on everything else. Yeah. So that's at MISSSARAHARAH. Pretty simple.
Yep.
Or not.
Yeah. And for me, literally just Hysteria0 on pretty much anything. If you're playing a game and you see someone named Hysteria0, 9 times out of 10 it's probably me. Anyways, thanks for listening to us, and we'll see you in the next episode. See you never.